This Saturday, April 11th, marks the 50th anniversary of the launch of the Apollo 13 mission. 3 days after takeoff of the Saturn V rocket, the ominous words, "Houston, we've had a problem," were radioed back to Earth, and the original mission, to land 2 men on the moon, would have to be aborted. However, bringing back every astronaut alive and well to Earth might have been a bigger accomplishment than the original flight plan. An explosion in one of the oxygen tanks caused a whole series of trouble, ranging from very acute, including loss of oxygen and difficulties getting the aircraft under control, to less urgent, such as loss of heating, loss of power, and loss of the board computer. Unknown to the astronauts from the beginning was that with every breath they took, they were slowly poisoning themselves, as the CO2 exhaled with every breath was slowly accumulating in this confined volume. While the story of the safe return of Apollo 13 continues to be told and broadcasted, the lessons of this incident seem all but forgotten. Isn't there another small bubble zooming through space in which CO2 is accumulating, thereby threatening all life in it? Indeed, the atmosphere of our very own Earth is also suffering, and while the size of our bubble may be bigger than the life raft the 3 astronauts had, there is much more at stake. Not only are we sharing our planet with 7 billion people, it is also home to millions of species that not only make our life possible, but also make our life beautiful. Ironically, a lot of us find ourselves confined in tiny spaces at this very moment. And yes, also here and now, there seem to be more imminent problems needing solving than slowly ascending CO2 levels, not in the least the current health crisis waging across the Earth. However, let's not find ourselves surprised by slower poisons down the road. We cannot snooze the CO2 alarm forever. Let's act upon it now. In the end, the astronauts retrofitted a CO2 scrubber to remove the excess CO2 from the spacecraft, which ultimately saved their lives. I believe similar installations will be needed to save our planet, to remove CO2 from the air and the sea. The latter is exactly the mission of my startup, Out of the Blue. However, as opposed to the astronauts, we don't have the scrubbers lying around. We still need to develop and especially scale them to the size of our bubble in order to make this happen. One of the other lessons I personally take away from the Apollo space program is how lucky we are to have this tiny pocket of life in the vast emptiness of space. Looking back to the Earth from the surface of the Moon, our home is but a tiny blue dot in a seemingly infinite universe. Let's take care of that home. Let's take care of the ocean and the air. Together, let's catch CO2 out of the blue.